Chances are you have heard the term Mercury Retrograde, and even more like you have no idea what that means. So here to give us some answers, as they are written in the stars, is Paul Delaney, Professor of Physics and Astronomy at York University. Welcome back.
Good morning.
All right, first of all, when strange events happen, people either say, oh, it's a full moon, or Mercury's in retrograde. What is retrograde?
So retrograde motion is something that every single planet in our solar system exhibits sometime during the year. Mercury does it more often because it's orbiting around the sun very quickly. But what it is the apparent change in direction that Mercury exhibits with respect to the background stars. So if you're looking at Mercury day after day after day, you'll see that it moves eastwards across the sky most of the time. But then it will suddenly stop, and for about 3 weeks, it'll go backwards, westwards, stop, and then resume its eastward progression. That bothered astronomers and everybody for thousands of years, because how can a planet actually do that? Well, in fact, it's just geometry. As Mercury is orbiting around the sun, it laps the Earth, which is also orbiting around the sun. So it's spinning around really quickly. It comes past us, and as we're looking past Mercury to the background stars, there is a 3-week period where literally the geometry is such that it stops its eastward motion and moves westward, stops again, and then resumes. It's just geometry, and all planets do it, but Mercury does it more often.
It is the appearance that it's moving backwards. It's not actually moving backwards.
It's not putting on the brakes and suddenly reversing its direction. No, it's it's geometry.
Okay, so retrograde is a thing, but how about this idea that whatever happens when Mercury is in retrograde affects, there are people who swear that it affects communication, it affects behavior.
That's not a thing. Things are happening around you all the time. And, to pin it on poor little Mercury or any of the other planets is a bit of a cop-out, okay? It's comfortable for people to say, oh, right, yeah, my cell phone went down. It's got to be Mercury in retrograde. Or, my boss gave me a hard time yesterday. We're obviously not communicating really well. It's Mercury on retrograde. Take ownership of the situation, people. Sorry.
It's just life.
It's life, exactly. Right. And, there's a lot of life that goes around, and we've got complicated, busy schedules. Things don't always go the way you want. It's got nothing to do with Mercury. It's got everything to do with life.
People also have the question, well, it happens a lot with Mercury. Why is that? 3 times a year at least.
Because Mercury goes once around the sun every 88 days. It's about 100 million kilometers inwards from us towards the sun. And as a consequence, it's got to move very quickly. Otherwise, it ends up sort of in the sun, which is not cool. It does it every 88 days. Venus does it every 225 days, more or less. But when you get to the outer planets, and they do retrograde as well, Jupiter does it once a year for a very brief period of time because it orbits around the sun every 12 years. So, it's all, as I said, planetary dynamics and geometry. It's really neat to look at, but it has no influence on what you and I are chatting about today or what you're going to do later on today.
The astronomy behind the astrological belief.
Correct.
Okay. Paul Delaney, always good to have you here to clear this up for us.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming in. Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.